Today is our 6th day of practice. We begin to open into Vipassana meditation, the practice of seeing clearly. How do we hold it correctly? The Buddha taught 9 stages of mental settling. They unfold through 6 strengths and are supported by 4 ways of directing the mind. Together they form a gentle, steady path of awareness. 0-1. The strength of listening, settling inward. We begin by listening. Listening is the first strength. It is how the mind understands and learns to settle inward. But who do we listen to? We listen to good friends of the path, those who truly understand and live the Dhamma. There are 3 kinds of good friends. The first kind are those who have realized the truth, who live the Dhamma in their actions and heart. They embody virtue, calm, wisdom, freedom, and the clear knowing of that freedom. The Buddha himself was such a teacher. His noble disciples followed his example. Some people can guide through learning and knowledge, but the best guidance comes from those who have seen the truth for themselves. The second kind of good friend is our companion on the path. A person who shares our intention, who grows with us, who keeps us honest and grounded. We walk together and support each other. The third kind are our supporters and caretakers, the ones who make our practice possible. They offer robes, food, shelter, and medicine so that we can practice with peace of mind. But what do we listen to? We listen to teachings that nourish wisdom. Not just any talk, not just ideas, but the kind of Dhamma that leads to awakening. Teachings that open the root of wisdom. This root is called knowing the all. Seeing how everything arises and passes through the 6 senses and the world around them. When the inner meets the outer, eye and sight, ear and sound, mind and thought, there is contact. That contact is the place to practice. At each contact, we simply notice. We breathe, we stay awake, and we let the mind rest without greed, anger, or confusion. When nothing new is born in craving or clinging, wisdom has room to appear. This is the birth of insight, the quiet knowing that all things are without self. Whether sitting, walking, working, or resting, we practice this same awareness. A calm, balanced way of seeing. This is the wisdom of emptiness, the heart that lets go. All the great beings, arahants, silent Buddhas, and awakened ones, grew from this same seed, the knowing of things as they are. It is the mother of all freedom. So we listen carefully. We listen to the true, original teaching, passed down by those who keep it pure. When the transmission is clear, many voices share one heart. When it is lost, many groups arise and people begin to argue. But the Dhamma is a path of peace. It is not about winning or losing. It is about listening deeply and letting the truth settle inside. When we truly listen, our mind begins to turn inward, like a wild elephant finally finding its home. This is the quiet power of listening. 0-2. The strength of reflection, continuing to settle. After listening comes reflection. This is the second strength among the six. Listening points the mind in the right direction. Reflection keeps the mind on the path. It helps the mind stay steady, to remember, to return, to continue resting in the Dhamma. When reflection is present, the mind no longer drifts so far. Even when thought scatters, some part of the mind knows how to come back. It's like a young bull tied to a post. It may pull, it may try to run, but it cannot go far. Because of this small but steady mindfulness, the mind begins to remember on its own. It doesn't wander endlessly into the past. It doesn't rush into the future. It comes home again and again. And what is home? The Dhamma itself. This is what we call continued settling. The mind returning naturally, resting where it truly belongs. But reflection must be right reflection. It's not just thinking or analyzing. It's a wise, balanced contemplation that looks into the root of the Dhamma, its teachings and its meaning. Seeing beyond the words. The words of the Dhamma are like a finger pointing to the moon. If we only look at the finger, we miss the moon completely. But when the mind follows where the teaching points, we begin to see for ourselves what it means. Many people stop at the finger. They repeat phrases or riddles again and again. Who is reciting the Buddha's name? Who am I before my parents were born? They stay on that one thought day and night, turning it over and over, believing the answer lies in the repetition itself. But they are still staring at the finger. They haven't yet looked up to see the moon. Others go a bit further. They catch a glimpse of the moon, a moment of quiet, a brief insight. And they think, this is it. They believe the mind has become pure, that they have reached the state of no mind. But that too is not the root. It's still only a reflection of the light, not the source. Awareness is the root. The true root is awareness itself. Awareness is the light behind everything. It has never been missing. Whether we practice or not, awareness is always here. Even when wisdom and freedom unfold, awareness doesn't increase. When delusion clouds over, awareness doesn't decrease. It simply shines. What actually changes is not awareness, but the mind's habits, greed, anger, confusion, and the reactions that follow them. Through reflection and practice, these begin to fade. This is what it means to reduce. To reduce greed, to reduce hatred, to reduce the old reactive patterns that keep the mind bound. And what do we increase? We increase virtue, concentration, and wisdom. The qualities that open into freedom and clear understanding. This is what truly grows. But awareness itself never changes. It is the steady, unshakable light behind it all. The Buddha's lesson on awareness. The Buddha once raised his finger and asked Ananda, "Ananda, what do you see?" Ananda said, "I see your finger, Lord." The Buddha moved it side to side, and Ananda's eyes followed. Then the Buddha said, "Ananda, "Why do you move your head when my finger moves?" Ananda replied, "Because when your finger goes left, I look left. When it goes right, I look right." The Buddha smiled and said, "This is what happens when the mind follows the object." He was showing that true awareness should not be fixed anywhere. It is not bound to one sense. It is present in all six. When the ear hears sound, awareness is there. When the nose smells, awareness is there. When the body feels touch, awareness is there. When the mind thinks awareness is there, awareness doesn't move. It simply knows what arises and passes. It is like a mirror. Whether the mirror is still or moving, it reflects exactly what appears before it. Just as it is. The mirror is the knower. The reflections are what is known. So the knowing mind is awareness. The known world is the six senses and their objects. When this is understood, there's no need to look elsewhere. Awareness is already here, within this very body and mind. The universality of awareness. Every living being has this awareness, birds, animals, insects, even those in deep ignorance. All carry the same seed. This is why every being has the potential to awaken. The seed of awakening is awareness itself. To reflect wisely is to see this clearly. We don't just understand the words, we understand the process. Reflection in practice. Through reflection, we develop skillful wisdom, the ability to connect what we understand with what we directly experience. We start to see how the Dhamma works, not just in theory, but in the real movements of our own mind. Principle and practice. We begin to recognize the link between the principle we've heard and the way it shows itself in daily life. For example, when the mind becomes calm, we can see for ourselves how peaceful awareness quiets the flow of thoughts, how kindness softens anger, and how mindfulness brings balance to everything we do. This is how the Dhamma becomes real, not only understood, but lived. Object and knowing. We also start to notice the relationship between what is observed and the awareness that observes. The breath, a sound, a feeling, or a thought. These are the objects of meditation. The stable awareness that recognizes them is the knowing mind itself. When the knowing is clear and steady and the object is seen just as it is, the two work together in harmony. This is how mindfulness matures into wisdom. The gradual deepening of freedom. As reflection deepens, we begin to understand the path as a process, a gradual freeing of the mind. At first, we see through confusion and doubt. We begin to trust direct experience more than belief. This is the mind's first taste of freedom. Then, as practice continues, the forces of craving and irritation lose their hold. We still notice them arise, but they pass without taking control. The mind becomes lighter, more peaceful, more at ease. Eventually, even the subtle traces of pride, restlessness, and confusion are understood and released. The mind becomes fully quiet, unbound, and at peace. This is the natural fulfillment of practice. Not something we chase, but something that unfolds when the mind sees clearly. Each step along this way depends on the same insight, seeing both the object that appears and the awareness that knows it. When these two are understood together, wisdom deepens naturally, step by step, moment by moment, until the mind is truly free, just like driving along a road. The scenery changes as we move forward, but the direction remains the same. The road is the Dhamma. The vehicle is mindfulness. The destination is freedom. In the same way, the method we use is virtue, concentration, and wisdom. What we work to remove are greed, hatred, and delusion. We cultivate the 7 factors of enlightenment and let go of the 5 hindrances. This balance of what we develop and what we release is the essence of reflection. Once we see clearly what is object and what is knowing, the practice finds its rhythm. Step by step, stage by stage, dash, dash, until wisdom matures. Some people rush ahead, thinking they have reached deep concentration or noble attainments, without understanding the process. They may confuse meditation with energy work or other systems. That's why reflection is so important. It keeps the mind aligned with the true Dhamma, not lost in imitation. Reflection lets us understand why we practice and how to keep returning to what matters. Even when the mind slips because of reflection, it doesn't stay lost for long. It knows how to come back to this breath, to this moment, to the path. This is the strength of reflection, the strength that keeps the mind continuing to settle. 03. The strength of recollection, establishing stabilized and close settling. Recollection is the 3rd strength among the 6. It is what allows the mind to stay steady and come back easily. Through recollection, the mind develops the ability to rest in the present, to become stable and close to calmness. Stabilized settling. Think of the mind as water. In the earlier stages, the stages of settling inward and continued settling, the mind is like a waterfall, fast and forceful, rushing down from a steep cliff. But when recollection begins to mature, the water changes. It becomes a gentle stream. It flows smoothly, quietly, steadily. This is what we call stabilized settling. At this point, there are still some scattered thoughts, but they no longer disturb the mind deeply. Even when a thought arises, awareness quickly recognizes it. The mind knows almost immediately when it has wandered. This quick recognition, this readiness to know, is what defines a stabilized mind. Many people ask, "My thoughts are too many. What should I do? Should I practice tranquility or vipassana?" When the mind is full of thoughts, it's not yet time for vipassana meditation. We begin simply with tranquility, with stopping, with letting the mind rest. To stop the wandering mind is not complicated. It just means we calm the restless movement within. Mindfulness of breathing can do this by itself. when you quietly know the breath as it is, when you follow it naturally without trying to change it. That is already tranquility practice. As the Buddha said, there is nothing swifter than the mind. When a thought arises, we don't see its beginning. By the time we notice, it's already gone. So, the moment of knowing is already free of defilement. That's still part of tranquility, not yet vipassana. Thus, the practice of knowing the mind as it is, noticing its movements and letting it settle gently, is called stabilized settling, close settling. The next stage is close settling. At this level, when the mind wanders, it comes back on its own. No need to pull it. No need to force. Awareness has become steady enough to guide the mind naturally home. The Buddha compared this to training a calf. At first, the little calf clings to its mother. To train it, we tie it to a post with a rope, not to punish it, but to help it learn stillness and independence. Only after it grows used to being calm and steady can it serve its purpose and follow the farmer's lead. Our practice works in the same way. The calf is the mind. The rope is awareness. The post is the breath, the small area around the nostrils where we stay attentive. At first, the mind struggles. It wants to run after sounds, sights, and memories. But awareness, like the rope, holds it gently, keeping it near its post. Gradually, the mind becomes familiar with stillness. Later, even without effort, it stays close to awareness, quiet and at ease. This is close settling. When the mind naturally returns to the breath again and again without struggle. The wisdom of isolation. The Buddha also taught that training the mind sometimes requires seclusion, a temporary stepping back from habitual dependencies. When we isolate the mind from its attachments, it learns freedom more easily. We depend on so many things: comfort, luxury, taste, approval, company. As long as the mind is bound by these, greed, anger, and delusion stay strong. That's why we come to the quiet mountains, away from distraction and noise. This kind of isolation is not withdrawal. It is a wise setting for mental training. The Buddha called it practice with half the effort and twice the result. So, when we stay quietly in this way, the mind begins to rest, not because it's forced, but because it has nothing left to chase. How recollection is strengthened. There are 2 ways to cultivate this strength of recollection. 1. Recollection through recitation. The first way is by repeating and remembering the Dhamma. We can quietly recite the Buddha's words, passages from the discourses on mindfulness, such as the Ānāpānasati Sutta, the great discourse on mindfulness, or teachings on the 6 elements and mindfulness of the body. These are deep, systematic instructions on awareness. By choosing one and reflecting on it again and again, reciting, memorizing, contemplating, we strengthen recollection. It reminds the mind of its direction and helps it return to clarity more easily. This practice leads the mind toward purity and calm. When thoughts lessen, when restlessness fades, the mind becomes near to one-pointedness. Not yet perfect, but already close to stillness. 2. Recollection through daily review. The second way is through mindful review, recalling our actions, speech, and thoughts throughout the day. The Buddha instructed the monks, "By midday, when you have finished your morning duties, sit quietly and recollect. Since dawn, how have you been living?" In his time, monks were already practicing by sunrise. Walking meditation, standing meditation, or sitting meditation. No one stayed asleep past dawn. From the moment light appears, we observe the body and mind with awareness, putting on robes, walking for alms, receiving food, returning on the same path, washing the bowl, washing the feet, and sitting again to meditate. The Buddha recommended returning by the same path, so that recollection remains sharp and unbroken. After the meal, we review again. What did I do? Was mindfulness present? Did the mind remain calm? This keeps recollection continuous. At night, before sleep, we recollect the whole day, clearly, thoroughly, without omission. When we live in this way, recollection becomes strong. And when recollection is strong, the mind naturally becomes stabilized and close to stillness. Recollection is not just remembering the past. It is the mind's ability to stay awake in the present, to remember what it is doing, and to come home again and again. Each moment of remembering is a return to clarity. Each return strengthens stability. This is how recollection builds the steady and peaceful mind that can walk the path with ease. 04. The strength of clear comprehension, establishing pacifying and tranquilizing. This is the fourth strength among the six, the strength of clear comprehension. What is clear comprehension? Clear comprehension means bright awareness. The mind that is awake and clearly knows each moment as it is. To be aware, to understand what is happening right now, to be alert and mindful in every instant. This is the power of clear comprehension. Clear comprehension has 4 forms: beneficial clear comprehension, suitable clear comprehension, situational clear comprehension, undiluted clear comprehension. With this strength, we are able to fulfill 2 stages of the ninefold settling of the mind: pacifying and tranquilizing. Pacifying. Pacifying means that inside us, the qualities of loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity start to flow naturally, again and again, from deep within the mind. They arise spontaneously and steadily. That is what it means to be pacified. When a practitioner's mind becomes pacified, sometimes tears arise, a quiet sense of remorse and tenderness. We begin to see the people we once harmed or disturbed and feel genuine sorrow. Not guilt, but humility and understanding. A person who has not yet been pacified still thinks, "If you are kind to me, I will be kind to you. If you hurt me, I will find a way to hurt you back." But one who has been pacified feels differently. Even when others harm them, when they meet jealousy, blame, or unfair treatment, they respond with gratitude. They see such moments as conditions for growth, opportunities to deepen patience and compassion. This is the pacified mind among the 9 stages of abiding. Why? Because such events become what the Buddha called adverse supporting causes. They push the practice forward. When things go smoothly and others show respect or praise, those are favorable supporting conditions. They nourish our strength gently. A practitioner who understands this develops both gratitude and diligence. They wish to repay kindness, to refine their conduct, and to act with humility. The Buddha said, when a person possesses a sense of shame and conscience, they can overcome confusion and carelessness. This inner refinement, this taming of the mind, is pacifying through the strength of clear comprehension, tranquilizing. When the mind becomes pacified, craving no longer rules it. Anger fades. The mind grows still and bright. It no longer burns with greed or resentment. It begins to understand deeply, to live with clarity and honesty. Such a person becomes simple and sincere, truthful and kind, acting always for the benefit of others. This quiet steadiness is tranquilizing. It arises through clear comprehension, particularly through beneficial clear comprehension. The 4 forms of clear comprehension. Let us now look closely at the 4. 1. Beneficial clear comprehension. Many ask, what is meditation in daily life? Why do we stay calm in sitting, but lose mindfulness the moment we leave the cushion? The reason is that the strength of clear comprehension is not yet developed. Without it, we may meditate for years and still not know how to live with wisdom. So, what is beneficial clear comprehension? It means knowing what is helpful and wholesome in action, speech, and thought. What supports calm, what disturbs it. For example, in the meditation hall, if you are coughing or sneezing, often you might tell the assistant teacher, "My body is unbalanced today. I will rest." That is beneficial clear comprehension. Acting with awareness not to disturb others. If you see a fellow practitioner sitting with full composure, body still, mind calm. Then, when you rise from your seat, you move gently, fold your sitting cloth slowly, being careful not to make noise. That too is beneficial clear comprehension. Walking into the meditation hall, you walk softly so no one hears you. When speaking, you speak neither too fast nor too loud, and only on matters connected with the Dhamma. Words that bring no agitation or harm. All this, careful movement, gentle speech, mindful behavior, is beneficial clear comprehension. It extends to daily activities as well: bending, stretching, looking, bowing, lifting, placing. Every action can be imbued with this mindfulness. Even sweeping the floor is a training. We sweep with the wind, not against it, so dust is not scattered. We gather things neatly, keep tools orderly, create a clean and peaceful space. This, too, is beneficial, clear comprehension. True deportment is not for show. It is not about how we appear before others. Even alone in our room, if our mind is careless, if things are messy and disordered, there is no clear comprehension. Real mindfulness expresses itself through our environment, our living space, our clothing, our possessions. They should be clean, simple, and in order. That is beneficial, clear comprehension. Awareness in every act, making life itself part of the path. 2. Suitable clear comprehension. This kind of clear comprehension is about choosing wisely. What is fitting, what is not. We ask, is this appropriate? Does this support concentration? Is this helpful for my practice? For example, when choosing a teacher, we don't look for someone rich, famous, or charismatic. We look for someone steady, a person who lives in samadhi, who has genuine concentration and insight, that is suitable, clear comprehension. Even small things can be chosen with mindfulness: what clothes fit the weather, what food supports health, what colors calm the mind. In practice, too, we consider what form of meditation fits our condition. If the body is tired, walking meditation may be best. If the mind is restless, sitting quietly may help. If energy is low, standing practice might awaken alertness. This ability to discern and adjust is suitable, clear comprehension, wisdom that keeps the middle balance and prevents strain. 3. Situational clear comprehension. This means knowing clearly where we are, in place, in practice, and in development. It is the awareness that says, I know what stage the mind is in right now. Some places or experiences lead to distraction. If we go to see performances, listen to songs, or indulge in sensory pleasures, craving can quickly arise. That is why the Buddha advised mindfulness of situations, knowing what to avoid and what to cultivate. In practice, it also means understanding our level of concentration. Before full absorption is reached, we first stabilize access concentration. This is the most delicate step. Once access concentration is steady, the deeper absorptions arise naturally. If we mistake shallow calm for realization, we easily fall into pride. Like the story of the uninstructed monk. He heard the Dhamma once and thought, I already understand. He practiced a little and gained temporary calm, then declared, I am liberated. But when he left meditation, greed and anger returned. He doubted the teaching and spoke against the Buddha, and thus fell into great suffering. This shows how dangerous it is to be poor in learning and lacking in clear comprehension. Without knowing our own situation, we can easily mistake illusion for wisdom. So, situational clear comprehension means know exactly where your mind stands. If it is access concentration, call it access concentration. If it is first absorption, call it first absorption. Be honest, be precise, be humble. Walk step by step, establishing one stage firmly before reaching for the next. 4. Undiluted clear comprehension. This is the highest form of clear comprehension, the wisdom that sees through all confusion. Here, the mind has learned equanimity, the ability to let go of clinging and aversion. Defilements no longer deceive it. It sees things with noble understanding, the wisdom of non-self, the vision that belongs to the undefiled mind. Such a mind remains clear in every circumstance, knowing what arises and passes away without being caught in it. This is undiluted clear comprehension. So there are 4: beneficial clear comprehension, suitable clear comprehension, situational clear comprehension, and undiluted clear comprehension. These 4 together tame the mind and bring it to peace. They form the strength of clear comprehension, which establishes the stages of pacifying and tranquilizing. Guided reflection. Now let the body relax. Soften the face. Let a small, natural smile arise. Bring your attention gently to the area beneath the nose, to the breath itself. Be aware of breathing in. Be aware of breathing out. Just as it is, natural, effortless, quiet. Follow the 4 steps of mindfulness of breathing as we have practiced from the beginning. Be patient. Be steady. Keep training. Only steady and continuous practice leads to true success.